All right, so the chamber happened today from, today, from Perth, Australia. One of the big complaints I've seen is it was very predictable, which, I mean, in some ways is fine. It means there's a logical progression to the story. 4 matches, which works well because 2 of them were quite long. Women's chamber, thought it was good. Thought it worked well, had a nice flow to it. Tiffany Stratton got to have a good shine to it. Made sense for Becky Lynch to win. She definitely has a pretty solid feud going on with Rhea Ripley. Definitely has some star power to it. Definitely has some notoriety to it, which is fine. Men's chamber. When you looked at it, you kind of went, I could see Drew, I could see Randy. Came down to Drew and Randy. Logan Paul attacked Randy after Randy eliminated him with a fantastically framed RKO. Thought that was just a beautifully done RKO. You know, he was doing the whole, like, you know, you can hear the brass knucks. It looked kind of like brass knucks. In RKO, I'm like, I like the setup for this. This is good. Of course, I'm like, Bobby Lashley's getting a squirt out of it. That's open for a really long time. Who's doing the running? AJ. AJ flew to Australia specifically to attack LA Knight. I'm like, okay. So coming out of that, you've got LA Knight, AJ Styles, fine with that. Logan Paul, now has beef with both the KOs, both R and regular. I'm like, that works. Drew's gonna head on to take on Seth. Bobby can probably continue his feud with the Final Testament. Yeah, it's an FT. With them, okay. That could be a pretty cool, 6-man match heading into Mania. I'm fine with that. And I was like, okay, that works well. Tag match. I watched the replay of it. What happened where the screen went black for like 30 seconds? But solid tag match. Did I think we were gonna see New Catch Republic? It's what Dunn and Bate are calling themselves. I mean, it's okay. It's an odd name, but love the tag team work. Loved the burning hammer. It's like burning ham. And I was like, I like that. It's a burning hammer, but it's Birmingham. Hammer. And I'm like, I like that. Like, that's good. Really did like seeing the 2-man Tyler Driver. I'm like, these are some pretty sick moves to see them hit. But they've been a tag team before. Other tag team championship match. Yes, I did watch the kickoff. Problem because I woke up and the event had just finished, so I couldn't get it on Peacock. But the replay hadn't been uploaded yet, so then I had to go to YouTube, which then spoiled all of the results, so I could catch the kickoff show. And, it was neat seeing them begin with an Indy Hartwell match. Sure, it's a tag match, but still, you got your local girl, because it's Australia. Against Kabuki Warriors. Solid match. I'm like, okay. Again, nobody really thought Kabuki Warriors were going to drop the belts. But, solid match. Crowd got into it. They'd had that moment where, Indy and Candice are in the ring after they'd lost. Crowd just, because, they're Aussies. Okay? The Grayson Waller bit, it did its purpose. It got Seth Rollins out there, got the crowd to sing for it. Got Cody Rhodes out there, got the crowd to sing about it. Got to talk about Rock, got to talk about Roman. It was a nice segment that actually built into other segments and other matches. I'm like, I like this. Still don't know if we're going to get, Seth freaking Rollins and Cody Rhodes taking on The Rock and Roman, which, I mean, would be a fantastic night 1 main event. But who knows? I think things are incredibly fluid for the next several weeks till we actually get to Mania. Main event. Nia Jax, also from Australia, but they don't claim her. Taking on Rhea Bloody Ripley. Great match. Crowd ridiculously behind Rhea Ripley, which makes sense. I mean, you get to go back in the main event in your home country, put on a fantastic match with Nia Jax, who's been, booked well and been a beast so far with this run. Kind of knew Rhea wasn't dropping the title to Nia. Some people were like, but it is in her hometown. You likes make you lose in your hometown. If Vince was running things. I know, kind of a crappy thing to do to people, but that's the way Vince like to do things every now and then. So things are now partially set up going into Mania. We know we have Cody Roman. We know we have Bayley Io. We know we've got Drew Seth. We know we've got Becky Rhea. Okay. It seems like we're probably leaning towards an Awesome Truth versus Judgment Day for the tag belts. I'm cool with that too. And then we're also looking at probably definitely I think a Gunther, Chad Gable, which if this is when they take the title off of Gunther and put it on Chad Gable, great moment. Man, could you send the crowd home happy at this event if you have, Gable beating Gunther, if you have Cody beating Roman, and all of a sudden you take these two massive title reigns and you finish them. You end with that chapter of the story on that title there. I'm like, that'd be amazing. Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, LA Knight, probably a 6-man with the Pride, taking on, the Final Testament or the last chapter, whatever Authors of Pain and Karrion Kross are being called, with their dueling managers. So there's a lot of really good matches. Now, we know who's main eventing night 2. Bayley did win the Royal Rumble, and she's the only 4 horsewomen to not have main evented the Mania. Is her story big enough to close out night 1? Or is that a Becky Rhea thing? Or is that a Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins thing? Or, if with Seth saying he's cleared, I do think a Seth Drew match is fine. Do they make a tag match? What if we were to get Cody versus Brock night 1? Let's also talk about a Jimmy and Jay match. I mean, there's still a lot of things to fill in both of those cards because you have to fill in 8 hours of wrestling. And I was like, there's still a lot of stuff to fill in there. Are we gonna do some battle royals? There's a lot of really good, interesting pieces that still have to maneuver around. You got a lot of people who have nothing currently going on. Who the Kabuki Warriors going to feud against? What's Bianca Belair going to do? And my computer screen is shutting down. Is Jade Cargill going to do something? There's a lot of people where it's like, okay, well, we got spots for him yet? What's Randy going to do? I mean, there's a whole group of people where it's like, oh, what are these other 10 people going to do? It's really interesting to see where we get to go from here, because this is it. This is the last premium live event, which I think is amazing. Because I always thought it was weird. It's like, oh, you did Rumble, and then you did Chamber, and then you did something else. That something else was always like, well, Rumble sets up most matches. Chamber sets up some other matches. We're gonna try to shoehorn in with either 2 weeks of build or come out of that and have 2 to 3 weeks of build to Mania with things maybe not changing at that event. It was great when they did Roadblock, and it was Dean Ambrose taking on Triple H. That they built almost a whole event around that one match, and it was a solid match. And it was like, could this be, could Dean Ambrose just wreck this entire main event flow to it? And a lot of people are like, yeah, it's been predictable. But that's kind of okay. If someone walks up and they go, hey, we got Becky Lynch didn't win the Rumble, but we did some bits with Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley, and crowd seemed to like it. Yeah. Becky Lynch in the Chamber. Where the Chamber gets to go take on Rhea Ripley. Okay. We think it's going to be Becky. Oh, okay. So be like, oh, it's going to be Liv. Liv Rhea is a solid match, but is it a Mania match? And then if you have those two in a match, well, then what does Becky do? This one's when people are like, oh, this person just had the title. It's like, well, when you start looking at, the levels of who's where, it becomes difficult all of a sudden to be like, oh, well, this person had this belt. It's like, well, yeah, but then you have 9 other people who are probably equally as deserving to be in some sort of large marquee matchup. Which is why Science says over 2 days, you actually can, space out some of those things more. But that was a good event. 4 matches are fine when 2 matches are a bit longer. Similar to what you do with like War Games, where you start out with 1, you do kind of like a little bit of kind of a come down, then you throw in like another different segment just to kind of like, all right, the crowd needs time to regain its energy, and then hit your other one, go into your big finish. Same thing with Rumble. It's entirely fine to work them this way, where you have these 2 longer matches, and then just build up 2, maybe 3 matches to go along with it, because that's all you need to do. So, thought it was well done. Crowd stupid hot. And, overall, I thought this was a really, really well done event. Looking forward to Mania.